Welcome back to stage 2 or part 2 of our controls in ISO 27001 in the annex. We are going through and looking at the controls at the back of the standard. Welcome back to Best Practice TV. My name's Kobi Simmat. In this video, we're talking about how you can enhance your ISO 27001 management system, how you can enhance your organization's management of information security, particularly in the current climate as we get towards the end of 2022. We're seeing increased threats, we're seeing increased issues, we're seeing increased challenges with managing information security. So if you're somebody who's been tasked with understanding ISO 27001 and understanding what you need to do to work on your information security management system, then this video is for you. This is part 2 of a 2-part series. In the previous video, in the previous series, I went through the beginning of the controls at the back of ISO 27001. So you can go back and look at that video. We will drop the link to that video in the description below this particular video. So welcome back to our live streaming out of our studio here at Best Practice TV. As always, I've got a dashboard here on my left-hand side, on your right-hand side. So I can see comments on the live stream on LinkedIn, and we're live streaming also to YouTube. So let me know where you are watching from. Welcome back to all of our previous viewers. If you are watching this after the recording, you can still make comments, ask questions, post there accordingly, and I can review that. I do review the inbox on our YouTube channel from time to time and go back and respond to people. So if you have got questions, if there's information that you want to add or comments, I like to know where you are in the world, where you're watching from. We have a great global audience, and it's great to know where everybody's watching from, and I get to see hello. Otherwise, I'm just looking at a camera lens. So it helps me with a bit of feedback. So Cam's here in the studio giving me some assistance. Thanks, Cam. And he's monitoring the dashboard. So he's got the screen up there and I can see people making comments. So if you'd like to go ahead, it's a good way to ask questions if I'm covering something specific. It is the end of September 2022. And right now we've got a pretty hot news item, which is the cyber attack on Optus, which is one of our larger telecommunications companies in Australia. I have been reading the official media release just to understand what went on, but to give you the kind of nutshells or the nutshell, everything in a nutshell, information was hacked or taken, if you like, from Optus. The information which may have been exposed includes customers' names, dates of birth, phone numbers, email addresses, and for a subset of customers, addresses, ID document numbers such as driver's license or passport numbers. And they've said that customers that were affected will be notified. Now, I've heard separately in the media that the people that breached were able to successfully breach this data are releasing sets of in chunks of 10,000. So it's like it might be hundreds of thousands. So they're asking for a ransom of about $1 million. It is really interesting. So kind of one of our big telcos here in Australia, telecommunications companies, being held to ransom right now. It's all over the media. So I think that we've been doubling down on information security. We've been helping you guys. You've got quality management systems or safety management systems, information security or ISO 27001. I've got a copy of the standard, hard copy of the standard right here. It is another form of risk for organizations. It fits into your risk management system. And I think what we've been talking about here and going through the controls at the back of ISO 27001, it's a great way to strengthen kind of your information security or risk management system, because there's a bunch of people, including you out there, learning about information security. So it's a new area of knowledge. It's not something that was a big concern, 20 years ago when I started in business, but it is now. We've done a lot of work here at Best Practice to move ourselves into the cloud. I'm sure you guys have as well. And so as our more and more information and data becomes electronic to help us run our businesses, then obviously that information is easily accessible. It's different to someone breaking into your office and going through your filing cabinet. Now they can just hack into your system and get it all online, and they can be very efficient. Hello, Kiana. Hello, Erica. Hello, Aaron. Good to have everybody on board this morning. That's the crew there on LinkedIn. So I can see everybody watching there on LinkedIn. So thanks for joining us today, and thanks for letting us know where you are in the world. Looks like Sydney, lots of people in Sydney, San Francisco in the US. Great to have everybody on board this morning, and thanks for joining us. And over there on YouTube, I can see there's a few people watching. So if you are able to comment on the YouTube video, if you have got, you're logged in on your Google account. So if you want to watch our videos on YouTube, You do need a Gmail account or a Google account to be able to like and comment and subscribe. I'd recommend you do that. It's a great way to comment and view our content on Best Practice TV. And there are lists of playlists and hundreds of videos for you to help you on your management system journey as you build your risk management system and improve your organization. Now, probably timely that I talk about the why. Best practice exists, and what we're all passionate about here is helping your organization to be a great place to work. If we can manage our risks and we can kind of get things under control and we can have KPIs and track our performance, then your organization is going to grow and it's going to improve and it's going to be an exciting place to work. So we're here to help organizations be great places to work. If everybody's smiling and enjoying it and you feel like you're achieving something, then your customers are going to have a great experience. And particularly quality management systems are all about customers. I'd imagine right now that a lot of the Optus customers are feeling quite violated by this situation and also in how they're handling it. They don't appear to be handling it with a lot of empathy. And I think that that's something that's concerned. They've kind of said, hey, very sorry that we lost your data and we gave it to hackers. Here, have a free cybersecurity subscription, bit late. So I think handling these kinds of situations with empathy is very important. And maybe Optus could learn from that. But right now, I think that, helping organizations to be a great place to work and a great place to buy from, management systems and risk management systems that are proactive and we're thinking about what could go wrong and trying to get in front of that means that the organization will be a great place to buy from. And if you can kind of do those two things, great place to work, great place to buy from, they'll become valuable investments. So that's kind of the why for us here at Best Practice. We use the foundation of people and data and process and analyzing that and building risk management systems and then having workshops and training and professional development and meetings with some structure around that, as the ISO standards prescribe, it helps your organization to move forward. So let's get on with it. I'm going to continue to go through some of the controls here in ISO 27001 at the back to give you some guidance on my descriptions, my interpretation of what you need to implement. Let's talk about physical and environmental security. I believe, and I haven't checked the source, I believe that user error or human error is the reason for the Optus hack, the really big Optus hack here in Australia that's happened this week, where hundreds of thousands of users and customers' data has been stolen essentially and is being released. So physical and environmental security, back in the old days, we had doors locked and swipe cards and people couldn't get into offices. You needed to break in. So thinking about physical security perimeters for where information is stored or held. Now, don't forget that an information security management system or cybersecurity management system still needs to consider the hard copy records. There are still filing cabinets, there's still that kind of information, but security perimeters shall be defined and used to protect areas that either contain sensitive or critical information or information processing facilities, things like server rooms and those kinds of things. So if you've got computers that are open, and haven't got usernames and passwords, then you need to have physical security. So we've got physical and environmental security controls, delivery and loading areas and working spaces and offices and securing that kind of stuff. We need to manage and we need to control equipment. There's a big section here on equipment, which is, thinking about where equipment is, where it's located, how it's looked after, how it's maintained. Cabling security, something we don't often think about. We just automatically think that the blue cable up in the ceiling of our office is secure, but that kind of stuff can be tapped. We remove assets that are redundant, and older equipment, and we get rid of that and dispose of it accordingly. And unattended user equipment. So I use the Face ID feature and the 6-digit code feature on my iPhone, and I'd recommend you do too. And I use the fingerprint feature on my MacBook. So using those kinds of things so that those devices, when they're unattended, automatically or quickly lock are very important. So there's kind of some really basic things that you'd think, but if you've got security features, they may be frustrating you that your computer keeps locking and you've got to keep putting in the password. That's why I really like my MacBook. So I don't need to keep typing in my password. I can just use my fingerprint to open it. So thinking about those kinds of features that create, the benefit of security, but then convenience to use. Clear desk and clear screen policy. I was in a retail store a couple of weeks ago, and the person serving me was doing work on a computer, and they had one of those screens, and I don't know the name of it, but I couldn't see what was on the screen, even though I was standing next to him. So that kind of user management and information security management also applies in terms of physical controls. Operations security, so documenting operations procedures, documenting change management, thinking about capacity management. If people are like too stretched, too stressed, then they're going to drop the ball on some of your cybersecurity and important security measures. And then starting to think about, we move then into the section on malware, protection against malware. So if you've got security features or internet security features with your software that you've got the features turned on, very easy to turn those things off because it can be frustrating for your sales team or your marketing team trying to do their work, but you want to have those features on. We talked about two-factor authentication in the last session. Let me just revisit that. I got a whole bunch of notifications on different platforms that I use in the last 24 hours because of the Optus hack, recommending that I turn on the two-factor authentication feature of that platform. Now, I've already got it turned on, but I think they sent out generic emails. So our training academy that is cloud-based, those people the operators of that system sent out an email saying, please turn on two-factor authentication just in case our information was part of that hack or just to strengthen cybersecurity. So there's some basic 101s that you can look at. Information backup. Now, my lawyer always says to me, never assume. Never assume that your cloud system is backed up. And what happens if the data, your cloud system might be great, but what happens if the data inside the system becomes corrupted? So how do you take offline backups of your cloud-based content? And maybe you don't need to do it every day like you used to need to do it with tape drives, but maybe we can think about what we can do with that in terms of how we bring an on-site backup of our cloud system. Have a think about that. Event logging, protection of log-on information, administrator and operator logs, and clock synchronization. So if you're in Google Workspace, there's a really great feature called an endpoint register where you can do a search and you can look at all the endpoint devices. So event logging and seeing what people are doing. A lot of the accounting systems now track that. What are the users doing? If you use Google Docs or Google Sheets, that product is tracking user activity. And that's also a good way to kind of work back to see what has happened or what if a user has made a particular mistake. Okay, let me know where in the world you are watching from. Hello from Melbourne. Hi from Sydney. So some great people there on the YouTube channel. So if you are watching on the YouTube channel, let me know where you are watching from. And also don't forget to hit that like button. So that like button it kind of jolts the attention of YouTube and says, actually, this was a good video. It was worth interacting with. So it's always very helpful for us to help more people see our videos if you like and comment on our videos. So please ask me a question if you have got a question rather than just commenting. Just ask me a question if there's something on your mind, or if you'd like to add some information. Both doing that on LinkedIn and also doing that on YouTube helps our channel and helps more people see this great content. If it's crap content, tell me that too. I'm always open for suggestions for improvement. Okay, let's get on with it. Communication security, so network security management, very important in terms of network controls, probably less so. This office here operates basically on a really simple Wi-Fi system now. We've taken out all of the network to minimize the things we need to control and manage. So we have just one connection in, out to a Wi-Fi router, and that is our network. So we haven't got the complicated networks of there was an office fit out, say 15 years ago. It does have little issues from time to time in terms of when there's lots of users on the network, but we've minimized our network security devices. And as you know, kind of the best principle to apply here with this risk management is the more you can minimize and simplify, the easier it is going to be to control. Okay, information transfer policies and procedures, agreements on information transfer, and then electronic messaging. There is an emerging area with chatting, like things like WhatsApp, Google Chat. I'm sure there's something in Microsoft. I don't use Microsoft, so I'm not sure, but Teams chat or OneDrive. Have a think about that, because a lot of the time, while say WhatsApp claims to be secure or Telegram claims to be secure, it's also communication and information sharing that's happening outside of your cybersecurity system. Now, while someone might think that Telegram messaging or Slack messaging is a secure system, it's people taking information out of your secure system and sharing it, and there isn't control settings around that. So you do need to have a policy about what chat channels you're going to be using. They're getting more and more popular, things like texting. How does if a customer texts you confidential information to an iPhone and then it's downloaded off the iPhone and entered into the system, the iPhone's sitting in an uncontrolled environment. So you got to tell your customers not to send you their confidential information via text message. Submit it through a secure system. I did hear about that interesting scenario last week with somebody I was talking to about customer data being shared via text. That's uncontrolled, and it's not something that we can wrap security controls around. Obviously, security system requirements and information security in A14, information security requirement analysis and specification. The information security related requirements shall be included in the requirements for new information systems and enhancements. So it's part of the purchasing criteria. Securing application services on public networks. Information involved in application services passing over public networks shall be protected from fraudulent activity, contract dispute, and unauthorized disclosure notification. So as an auditor or assessor or consultant who's helping you put this stuff together, we're interrogating these questions and asking how it applies to your organization and trying to obviously at all times minimize our exposure and minimize the use of these systems so we can keep it tight from a security perspective. Secure development policy. Rules for the development of software and systems shall be established and applied to developments within the organization. When we're doing new things in the organization and we're running and moving very quickly, how does that affect our cybersecurity system? And when do we come through and make sure we strengthen our systems as we expand our organizations and manage our changes and control? Technical review of applications after operating platform changes. So we've got somebody doing QA on, if you've platform-based organization, you've got someone doing security QA on your system, so you haven't got exposures. I was recently in a conversation about the use of Zapier. If you've heard about the use of Zapier as a system to, have APIs running between different packages, and they were concerned about the security of Zapier. So how are your Zaps working? And how is that sending messages backwards and forwards? Have a think about that and interrogate that from a security perspective. What information is being zapped backwards and forwards between apps, or do the apps have APIs that plug into each other? That's always the preference. If you can avoid, Zapier is a great product, don't get me wrong. We love it and we use it. But if you can avoid using it by having two apps talk to each other to get the information to flow between the two things, that's going to be more secure. Okay, supplier relationships, looking at supply chain, your contractors. That is what is happening with government right now. The reason why we're doing so many of these 27,001 information security, cybersecurity webinars and live streams is because government supply chains around the world are super concerned about cybersecurity and super concerned about the government information that they need to give you so that you can do their project and supply to government. And so they're strengthening that. And what we're seeing is that more and more tenders and more government requirements are asking for this. So we're doing these videos to help you have confidence to build your information security systems and get ready for ISO 27001. So that's there in section A15. It's all about your supply chain. Who do you outsource to? What information do you have to give them? Are they protected? Have they got cybersecurity systems in place? What's the level of risk? What information can you hold back from them so you don't need to, if you don't give them the information, you don't need to control it, particularly if it's commercial in confidence, your information or your customer's information that it's controlled. Okay, skipping through this pretty quickly because I don't want to take too much of everybody's time. Somebody watching from India, great to have you on board today. So we've got people everywhere. Hey, Stan, haven't seen you online for a while. Okay, and I will have a look at, we've got an app coming onto the market in coming weeks based on AWS. Really need a 100% solution and nothing less to protect our users. Is there such a thing, or is it just a matter of risk management? Okay, that's a great question. When you host on AWS, don't assume that AWS does all of your security. Your users in your team are where the human error is going to occur. AWS will look after your data on their platform, but you've got to go through a pipe. All you're doing basically is not having a server in your office. So you could have a static IP address and you could have everybody coming onto a cloud server and you could put the cloud server in your office. So when you use AWS, Amazon Web Services, for everybody else who is watching this and don't know what that is, all it is a server, like a black box with fans in it and a drive in a building somewhere that someone's looking after. So it still goes through the blue cable in your office, still goes through the optic fiber out in the community, still goes into the AWS server, but it's still a computer. AWS will put a whole bunch of computers side by side. So they're rating and they're mirrored so that your data is there and it's available, but it is still a computer and it is still off-site. So it's not literally up in the clouds. It's in a building somewhere that's air conditioned and locked and got all that sort of stuff. So where your risk is in your user management and your access management and your access controls of your team. So your hack potential is in between your computers and your cloud-based system via your users. You must have robust user management. You must have robust access protocols in place for your team. And the biggest mistake I see people in kind of the app building space, and this is to the Critical Alphas YouTube user that's on our YouTube channel right now asking that question. The biggest mistake that I see organizations like yours make is ignoring the fact that you've got to have cybersecurity for your users. So everybody who's on your team that works from home, or there's developers in a different country, or you've got your dev teams and your QA teams and your sandboxing of your information. It's everything outside of AWS where people are working on the system. So someone's working from home, remotely, the security of their Wi-Fi connection or their home internet connection, the security of their device, the management of their device. They're usually kind of in a house. You could smash the window, break in, use the machine. So your information security management system applies to those people. How do you manage that? The best way to manage that is limit what people can access and how they access it remotely. So have a think about that. Yes, it's just a matter of risk management, but it's thinking about user access controls, user management, who's got access to what data. And for you guys, I would double down on passphrases, not passwords, but passphrases. So I would do more around passphrases and making them longer. And I would also be making sure that everybody's using two-factor authentication. And I would be limiting the number of devices that you let your team members access the systems. And so then you can always identify a specific device. So if you've got developers, don't let developers kind of be choosing which device they're working on. Specifically limit the number of devices that are accessing your cloud-based or AWS instance. So those are kind of I'm just touching on some brief things. You want to have training, you want to have professional development, you want to make sure you're inducting all of your team members in cybersecurity and user management, and you want to ultimately be limiting who's got access to that customer data. So don't give it to just everybody, kind of keep it really tight in terms of who accesses and who uses it. Hope that was a bit of guidance for you in terms of that. This standard's really good. And I would suggest that there is every part of this standard is applicable to your organization, particularly if you're building that kind of system. New Jersey. So we've got people from all over the world, India, New Jersey. Awesome. Great. San Francisco, got people all up and down the East Coast there. That's absolutely fantastic. So good to have everybody on board today. Let me know where in the world you are watching from. I love seeing that in the comments. So thank you everyone who's joined us on LinkedIn today. And thank you everyone who's joining us on YouTube. Super exciting. If you want to see the recording, this recording will be left on my profile if you're watching on LinkedIn, but it might get lost in the feed. You can always go over to our YouTube channel and we leave the recordings of all of our live streams and all of our videos on the Best Practice TV YouTube channel. You can go into that channel, you kind of scroll down the videos and you can see all of the videos. If you want to share them, you've got a colleague at work that you'd like to see this information or you want to share it with your team, you can use our videos for team training. So you can go into the Best Practice YouTube channel, pick out videos, and you can show that in your company or in your organization. And you can, and I'll do your training for you, and it's free. You just kind of copy the YouTube video, show it in a training session, or email it to people and say, hey, watch this. That's the great thing about the YouTube videos. So if I can help by doing your training with some of these videos, please go right ahead and do that. Actually, that reminds me, we do have training courses on our website. If you go to bestpractice.biz and there's a solutions tab, you can look at our online training and you can see what courses we have available. We've got free content. We've got training courses that you can buy and you can use. We've got a cloud-based system as well that we host all of our training courses on. If you are already a Best Practice client, you will have free access to a bunch of training courses. that come as part of being a certified client with best practice. If that interests you, if you need to get ISO 27001 certification to this standard, then our team of assessors can do that. And we can do that for you anywhere in the world. So if you want a ISO 27001 audit and you want a certificate, we're a globally recognized certification provider. We can issue you a certificate that you can use anywhere in the world. I'm personally a signatory to the IAF, which is the International Accreditation Forum, and our certificates can be used anywhere in the world. So if we can help you with ISO 27001, either some guidance and training, or you'd like us to do your audits and your registration, registrar, or accreditation or certification, we can definitely help with that. Okay, let me finish this one off. Let's go over to a little bit more. I've talked about backup. I've talked about malware. We've talked about network security. We talked about information transfer. We've talked about supply chain. Lucky last page. Management of information security incidents and improvements. So there's obviously been this big incident I've been talking about today with the hack of Optus, one of our largest telecommunication companies here in Australia. There's responsibilities and procedures. Management responsibilities procedures shall be established to ensure a quick, efficient, and orderly response to information security incidents. What I was reading right before we started this was the official press release from Optus. So they've obviously got management responsibilities documented there. Reporting information security events. Information security events shall be reported through appropriate management channels as quickly as possible. Reporting information security weaknesses. Assessment of decision on information security events. Response to information security incidents. Learning from the incidents. Collection of evidence. All of that stuff there in the improvement part of it. So compliance with legal and contractual requirements. I am skipping through these controls. Here in Australia, if you have a cybersecurity incident, there is a mandatory notification requirement. I'm pretty confident that that is relevant in most jurisdictions around the world. Identification of applicable legislation and contractual requirements. So all legislative, statutory, regulatory, contractual requirements and the organization's approach to meet these requirements shall be explicitly identified, documented, and kept up to date. If you already have a management system in place that's, say, ISO 9001, you've already got a register of requirements. If you've got an environmental management system or safety, you already need to identify and access legal and other requirements. This is the same for information security, same intent. So if you want to integrate your management system, you just add information security requirements to a tab on your legal register spreadsheet, if that's what you're running. So there's independent review of information security. That's talking there about internal audits, the organization's approach to managing information security and its implementation shall be reviewed independently at planned intervals or when significant changes occur. Good idea to have a fresh set of eyes come through. We do have a training course on internal audits and something that you can think about, but having someone independent helping you, it's about getting industry experience involved and people with experience and knowledge and sharing, and that's how we get better. It's like a high-performance athlete has a coach. It's about getting an information security coach or independent person to come in and give you a fresh set of eyes to look at things so you can get better and better at this over time. Compliance with security policies and standards. Managers shall regularly review the compliance of information processing and procedures with their data and area of responsibility with the appropriate security policy standards and other security requirements. You do need to review how you're going. Are we doing what we said we would do? Are you doing what you said you would do? That's really important around prevention and continual improvement. Okay. Hey, more people from Sydney. Great to have everybody on Sydney. Yeah, 100%. I'm more than happy to have an offline chat about that and my experience. I'm more than happy to share that. So that's Critical Alpha's YouTube. Send an email into our marketing team. So if you go to bestpractice.biz and subscribe to our email there, as you start getting emails from us here at Best Practice, just reply, and one of the team out here that's just outside the studio will put me in contact with you. My email address is kobi@bestpractice.biz, KOBI @bestpractice.biz, and you don't type that there because otherwise we'll get bots. But yeah, so if you just want to write that down, kobi@bestpractice.biz, send me an email and I'm more than happy to respond. We can organize a Google chat, Gmeet or a Zoom, and we can have a quick chat about it, but I'm more than happy to help. Atherton Tablelands, awesome. What a lovely part of the world. So, hey, Sally, good to have you on board. And Sweden. So we've got people from all over the world today, which is really exciting. So thanks for coming on. I hope my content's been really valuable. Okay, so just to kind of summarize, ISO 27001, it's a great standard. It's quite simple to read. It is new for a lot of people, and that's the objective with some of these webinars. I tell a lie. I've known a bit about this standard for about 15 years. The standard has just had a major update. So it just got approved this week. So we're going to see a ISO 27001 2022 edition. You can catch a draft of that for free right now off the ISO.org page. And that's a good way to get a free copy of the standard, just to let you know. It did get approved and it will come out as an official document. There's no significant changes from the draft. The draft got approved. That happened this week. So we will see anyone that's got ISO 27001 2015 certificates. We will probably see a 2-year program to get you updated. So there'll probably be a due date that you need to transition to the new standard by 2024, I would suggest. And so that'll start to happen soon. As soon as we know more about the new standard and timelines for what you need to do to upgrade, then we'll get that out to you. That does not mean that you build, I can anticipate a question. Should you develop your information security management system to the 2015 edition of the standard or the 2022 edition of the standard? Do it to the 2015 edition of the standard, because it's still going to be 2 years away before with a mandatory deadline. So don't let it slow you down. Do it now, get onto it. And speed is always the solution. Getting onto these things quickly means that you can get this risk managed and you can be preventative in your approach. Please don't think that just because there's a new version of the standard that that's an excuse to not do anything about information security. I think Optus this week just proved that. They probably haven't been as good as they could have been. They're using the excuse that we're a really big organization and we didn't manage it. And that's our excuse. It's not an excuse. There is no excuse right now. There is plenty of information out there. There's a really great standard. There's no excuse to not get on the front foot and be proactive with information security. If you would like our team to help you with an information security health check, you can talk to Gretel or Kiana in our team, and we can organize an assessor to come out and spend some time with you and do a cybersecurity health check. You don't need to lift a finger. You just need to sit with us. We'll spend some time with you. We'll do a gap analysis and we'll see where you're at. I'd recommend you do that kind of right now. So now's the time to reach out to our team. You can get to Gretel or Kiana in the sales team and they will do that cybersecurity health check. It's $7,500 plus GST Australian dollars. So our currency is not going very, very well right now globally. So that's quite cheap for anyone outside of Australia. We can do it all remotely. We can do it online. So if you're in Sweden or if you're in India or if you're in San Francisco, or if you're in Sydney or if you're in New Jersey, reach out to our team here at Best Practice. We can work with you anywhere in the world. We're part of a global group of companies called Citation that has representation all around the world. So we can definitely work. You can work with the Best Practice team remotely, and then we can organize someone to come and visit you in your jurisdiction if required down the track. But I think that's important. Get one of our highly skilled team members right now to get on board with you and do that cybersecurity health check, and we can get the team to help you with that. And we can do that right now. And then you've got a gap analysis. You know where you kind of need to improve. You can work on that and you can get certified eventually to ISO 27001. If you want a price for full or an estimate for full ISO 27001 certification for your organization, did anyone ask for that? No, but there's some links dropping there for training courses in the chat. Thank you very much, Vanessa, if that's you, drop in the chat, or it's Cam dropping the chats. Thank you very much. If you want a proposal, we have an online calculator. You can get an instant quote. Go to bestpractice.biz. You can get an instant quote, fill out the details on the calculator, and our website will send you an estimate, and it's pretty accurate. You can actually click accept and buy online for ISO 27001 certification for your organization. I recommend you do that. Hit the calculator, owes you nothing. You can kind of get an estimate of what this thing costs for your organization. And again, we can audit and certify you anywhere in the world. We are a global organization. That's why we do this stuff on YouTube. And so you'll get that proposal in Australian currency, but if you need it to be in a different currency, the team can work with you on that as well. Okay, I didn't want to do any hard selling on anybody today. I just hopefully this was really useful. There's really great guidance. It's in a table here at the back of ISO 27001. Go to the back of the standard, read through those clauses, and just start helping yourself improve your organization. You can do it yourself, or you can reach out to our team here and we'll help you with it. So, okay, my name's Kobi, if you didn't know that already. Lots of great stuff happening on my TikTok account. If you've got a TikTok account, go and search Kobi Simmat on TikTok. And follow along there. Lots of great leadership, management, inspiring stuff. Lots of stuff happening on Instagram. If you've got an Instagram account, go and follow me on Instagram. Kobi Simmat is my handle. If you love LinkedIn, and we got lots of people who already love LinkedIn, you can see that we broadcast live every week on LinkedIn, and that video is streaming right now. So if you want to connect with me or follow me on LinkedIn, my handle is Kobi Simmat, all the same, KOBI SIMMAT. And if I talk too quickly for you, let me know in the comments. So if you don't see me on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok, or LinkedIn, you're definitely going to see me right here next time on Best Practice TV, right here on YouTube. So we'll leave the recording. For anyone on LinkedIn who wants this recording, jump across to Best Practice TV on YouTube. You'll see it there. It's going to be up there in about 30 seconds after we hit stop. And if you are watching after the recording, it's there for you to hit the share button, and you can copy the link and send it to your friends and family in your company so that you guys can use it for internal training. So please go right ahead and do that. I would recommend any of our information security videos to be used as kind of an information security awareness training in your organization. You can get started with that right now, circulate the link, and people can start learning about information security from our YouTube channel. Okay, that's it from me. Same time, same place, right here. Actually, we won't be live streaming next week because it's school holidays here in Australia, and I've got to look after my son. We will have a pre-recorded video for you next week, so there will be a video at this time next week. It won't be live. I'll see you in 2 weeks' time where I'll be live. Look out for that one. And if you're not getting one final thing, go to bestpractice.biz, subscribe to our email list, and every Friday afternoon you'll get 5 little tiny treats, which is our best of best newsletter. It's really exciting and it's a great read. So that's it from me. Bye for now.